You've heard it 1,000 times from every trading guru, every YouTube video, every trading book, every online course. They all say the same thing. You just need more discipline. If you were more disciplined, you'd be profitable. So, you promise yourself you'll be more disciplined. You wake up Monday morning determined. Today will be different. Today, you'll follow every rule. Today, you'll be the disciplined trader you know you can be. And Monday goes well. You follow your rules, you take only valid setups, you stick to your risk management. You feel proud of yourself. You think, finally, I've got this. I'm disciplined now. Tuesday is harder. You face a tempting trade that doesn't quite meet your criteria. You resist for a few minutes. Your discipline holds. You don't take the trade. You feel strong. You feel in control. Wednesday, you're tired. Work was stressful. You come to your trading desk already exhausted. A marginal setup appears. You know you shouldn't take it, but you're tired of fighting. You take the trade. Your discipline breaks. Thursday, you're frustrated about Wednesday's mistake. You promise yourself you'll be more disciplined. You white-knuckle your way through the day, forcing yourself to follow rules. It works, but it's exhausting. By the end of Thursday, you're mentally drained. Friday, you have no discipline left. You're exhausted from fighting yourself all week. You take trades you shouldn't take. You break rules you know you should follow. By Friday evening, you're disappointed in yourself again. And Sunday night, you make the same promise. Next week, I'll be more disciplined. I just need to try harder. This cycle repeats week after week, month after month. You keep promising to be more disciplined, you keep failing, and you keep thinking it's your fault, that you're weak, that you lack what it takes to be a successful trader. But here's the truth nobody tells you. Discipline alone won't save your trading. It never has, it never will. And the traders who are successful aren't more disciplined than you, they've just figured out something you haven't yet. Let me tell you about Yale, who spent 2 years trying to become more disciplined before he discovered what actually makes traders successful. What he learned changed everything. Yale started trading with the same advice everyone gets: be disciplined. He believed that discipline was the key to success. He believed that if he could just force himself to follow his rules, he'd become profitable. So, Yale tried. He tried really, really hard. He created detailed trading rules. He wrote them down. He printed them out. He taped them to his monitor. He read them every morning before trading. Yale set alarms to remind him to follow his rules. He created checklists. He kept a trading journal where he wrote about discipline every single day. He watched motivational videos about discipline. He read books about willpower and self-control. For 2 years, Yale's entire focus was on becoming more disciplined. He measured his success by how well he followed his rules, not by how much money he made. He believed that if he could just be disciplined enough, the money would follow. But it didn't work. Yale's account barely grew. After 2 years of intense focus on discipline, Yale had turned his initial $10,000 into $10,800. That's an 8% gain over 2 years, less than 4% per year. He would have made more money putting it in a savings account. Yale was exhausted. Fighting himself every day was draining. Trying to force himself to follow rules was mentally and emotionally exhausting. He felt like he was constantly at war with himself. Worse, Yale noticed that his discipline was inconsistent. Some days he could follow his rules perfectly, other days he couldn't follow them at all. Some weeks he'd be incredibly disciplined, other weeks he'd completely fall apart. Yale couldn't understand why. If discipline was just about trying hard, why couldn't he maintain it consistently? Why did it work sometimes and fail other times? That's when Yale started questioning everything he'd been told about discipline. Maybe discipline wasn't the answer. Maybe there was something else, something deeper that successful traders understood. Yale decided to study successful traders differently. Instead of reading their advice about discipline, he wanted to understand how they actually traded day to day. What did they actually do that made them successful? This shift in focus, from studying what traders said to studying what they actually did, revealed something surprising that nobody talks about in trading courses. Yale reached out to 5 consistently profitable traders he knew, not trading gurus selling courses, not Instagram traders showing off cars, real traders who made real money consistently over years. He asked if he could interview them about their actual trading process. All 5 agreed, and what Yale discovered shocked him. None of them talked about discipline the way Yale thought about discipline. Yale expected them to talk about forcing themselves to follow rules, about resisting temptation through willpower, about fighting their emotions and impulses. But they didn't talk about any of that. Instead, they talked about systems, about environment design, about removing temptation rather than resisting it, about making good behavior easy and bad behavior hard. The first trader Yale interviewed was named Marcus. Marcus had been profitable for 7 years. When Yale asked him about discipline, Marcus laughed. "I don't have discipline," Marcus said. "I'm lazy and impulsive. If I relied on discipline, I'd blow up my account in a week." Yale was confused. "But how do you follow your trading rules then?" Marcus explained, "I don't follow my rules through discipline. I follow them because I've designed my trading setup so that breaking rules is almost impossible. I've removed the opportunity to break rules." Marcus showed Yale his trading setup. His platform only allowed him to trade during specific hours. After those hours, the platform locked him out. Marcus couldn't trade outside his hours even if he wanted to. Marcus had automated his position sizing. He couldn't manually enter position sizes. The platform calculated his 2% risk automatically based on his account size. Marcus couldn't risk more even if he tried. Marcus had a physical checklist on his desk, 3 switches that had to be flipped before he could enter a trade. Each switch represented one confirmation his strategy required. If all 3 switches weren't flipped, Marcus had conditioned himself not to enter. The physical act of flipping switches forced him to verify each confirmation. "I don't resist temptation, I remove temptation. I don't force myself to follow rules. I make breaking rules difficult or impossible." Yale interviewed the other 4 traders. Every single one told him the same thing in different ways. They weren't more disciplined than Yale. They had just designed their trading environment to make good behavior automatic and bad behavior difficult. Understanding that successful traders used systems instead of discipline made Yale curious about why discipline fails so consistently, and what he learned explained his 2 years of frustration. Yale researched the psychology of willpower and self-control. What he discovered explained everything. Discipline isn't a character trait. It's a limited resource that gets depleted. Scientists call this ego depletion. Every time you use willpower to resist something, you use up some of your willpower reserve. And once that reserve is empty, you can't resist anymore. Think about it like a battery. You wake up with a full battery of willpower. Every time you resist a temptation, you drain the battery a little. Every time you force yourself to do something you don't want to do, you drain the battery more. By the end of the day, your battery is empty. You have no willpower left. That's why you break your diet in the evening. That's why you skip the gym after work. That's why you make poor decisions at night. Trading is the same. If you rely on discipline to follow your rules, you're draining your willpower battery all day long. Every time you resist a bad trade, you use willpower. Every time you force yourself to wait for a better setup, you use willpower. Every time you stop yourself from revenge trading, you use willpower. Eventually, your battery runs out. And when it runs out, you can't follow your rules anymore. You take bad trades, you break your risk management rules, you do all the things you promised yourself you wouldn't do. This explained Yale's pattern perfectly. He could be disciplined Monday and Tuesday, but by Wednesday or Thursday, his willpower was depleted. By Friday, he had nothing left. his discipline would completely fail. Then, over the weekend, his willpower battery would recharge. He'd feel strong again. He'd promise himself to be more disciplined next week, and the cycle would repeat. Yale also learned about decision fatigue. The more decisions you make in a day, the worse your decision-making becomes. Every trading decision, should I take this trade? Should I close this trade? Should I adjust my stop? Drains your mental energy. By the end of the day, you're making poor decisions not because you lack discipline, but because your brain is exhausted from making so many decisions. This is why discipline alone never works. You're asking your brain to do something it's not designed to do. Maintain constant willpower all day, every day, forever. It's impossible. But successful traders understood this. That's why they didn't rely on discipline. They relied on systems that removed the need for constant decision-making and constant willpower.
This realization about discipline being a limited resource led Yale to the real breakthrough. Successful trading isn't about changing yourself, it's about changing your environment. Yale had spent 2 years trying to change his personality, trying to become more disciplined, trying to develop more willpower. But that approach was fundamentally flawed. Your personality is stable. You can't fundamentally change who you are. If you're naturally impulsive, you can't become naturally patient. If you're naturally emotional, you can't become naturally calm. But you can change your environment. And when you change your environment, you change your behavior without needing to change who you are. Yale started applying this to his trading. Instead of trying to develop discipline, he started designing his trading environment. First, Yale dealt with his biggest problem, trading outside his strategy's optimal hours. Yale's strategy worked best during the London and New York session overlap, but Yale would often trade during slow Asian session hours out of boredom or impatience. Old approach? Yale tried to resist the temptation to trade during Asian hours. This required constant willpower. Some days it worked. Most days it didn't. New approach? Yale set his trading platform to automatically lock him out during Asian hours. He gave the password to his wife. She wouldn't give it to him until his designated trading hours began. Now, Yale couldn't trade during Asian hours even if he wanted to. The temptation still existed, but the opportunity didn't. No willpower needed. Second, Yale dealt with his position sizing problem. When emotional, Yale would increase his position size beyond his planned 2% risk. Old approach? Yale tried to remember his position sizing rule and force himself to stick to it. This required discipline that often failed when emotions were high. New approach? Yale created a spreadsheet that calculated his position size automatically. The spreadsheet was locked with a password. Yale calculated his position sizes for the week every Sunday when he was calm. During the week, he couldn't change them because the spreadsheet was locked. Now, Yale couldn't increase his position size impulsively. The decision was made in advance, when he was rational, not in the moment when he was emotional. Third, Yale dealt with his revenge trading problem. After a loss, Yale would immediately look for another trade to recover his money. Old approach? Yale tried to resist the urge to trade immediately after a loss. This required enormous willpower that usually failed. New approach? Yale programmed his trading platform to automatically close after any losing trade. The platform wouldn't reopen for 60 minutes. Yale also set his phone to airplane mode automatically during this time. Now, Yale couldn't revenge trade even if he wanted to. The platform was closed, his phone was off. The opportunity was removed. These changes transformed Yale's trading within weeks, not because Yale became more disciplined, but because Yale removed the need for discipline. He designed his environment so that following his rules was automatic and breaking them was difficult or impossible. Yale's success with environmental design led him to identify 5 specific changes that had the biggest impact on trading results, and these became his framework for helping other struggling traders. Change 1: time constraints.
Most traders try to force themselves to only trade during optimal hours. This requires constant willpower. Instead, remove the ability to trade during non-optimal hours. Yale used platform lockouts. Some traders physically turn off their computers during non-trading hours. Some traders only access their trading platform from a specific device that they only use during trading hours. The key is making it difficult or impossible to trade outside your designated times. Don't rely on reminding yourself. Remove the option entirely. Change 2. Pre-committed position sizes. Most traders try to force themselves to stick to proper position sizing in the moment, but emotions override logic in the moment. Instead, commit to position sizes in advance. Yale did this weekly. Some traders do it daily. Write it down. Make it public. Tell someone. Create accountability. Some traders have a trading partner who reviews their trades daily. Some traders post their rules publicly and share every trade. Some traders have a mentor who receives their trading journal weekly. Yale joined a small group of serious traders. Every Sunday, each member shared their trading journal from the previous week. Knowing he'd have to share his trades kept Yale honest. He didn't want to share a journal full of broken rules. The key is making accountability real and regular, not just having someone you could theoretically contact, having someone who will definitely see your results. These 5 environmental changes don't require discipline. They don't require willpower. They don't require changing who you are. They just require setting up your trading environment once, then letting the environment guide your behavior.
Implementing these 5 environmental changes didn't just improve Yale's trading results, it completely changed how trading felt on a daily basis. Before environmental design, trading felt like constant warfare. Yale was constantly fighting himself, fighting his impulses, fighting his emotions, fighting his urges. Every trading session was exhausting because he was at war with himself. He'd end each day mentally drained. He'd feel stressed during trading. He'd dread trades that went against him because he knew he'd have to fight the urge to break his rules. Trading was hard work, and not the good kind of hard work. After environmental design, trading felt completely different. Yale wasn't fighting himself anymore. He was just following the systems he'd created. Trading became almost boring in the best possible way. When a loss happened, Yale didn't have to fight the urge to revenge trade. His platform automatically closed. There was nothing to fight, no temptation to resist. The system took care of it. When a marginal setup appeared, Yale didn't have to resist taking it. His checklist wouldn't allow him to take it without verifying all criteria. He couldn't skip the checklist because it was physical and unavoidable. When he felt tempted to trade outside his hours, he couldn't. The platform was locked. There was no battle, no willpower needed. The environment had already decided for him. Trading became effortless in a way Yale never experienced when he relied on discipline. He was still making all the right decisions, following his rules, managing his risk, taking only valid setups. But the decisions weren't hard anymore because they weren't really decisions. They were just the natural result of the environment he designed. Yale's results reflected this change. In the 3 months before implementing environmental design, Yale's account grew 2%. He was following his rules about 60% of the time, constantly fighting himself for that 60%. In the 3 months after implementing environmental design, Yale's account grew 21%. He was following his rules 94% of the time, and it felt easy. The 6% of times he didn't follow his rules were situations he hadn't designed his environment to handle yet. But beyond the numbers, the biggest change was how Yale felt about trading. He stopped dreading his trading sessions. He stopped feeling exhausted after trading. He stopped feeling disappointed in himself. Trading became sustainable. Yale could trade day after day, week after week, month after month without burning out.
because he wasn't relying on willpower that depletes. He was relying on systems that don't get tired. Yale's transformation raised an important question. Why does environmental design work when discipline, motivation, and willpower all fail? The answer lies in understanding how behavior actually changes. Most people think behavior comes from belief, which leads to motivation, which gives you willpower to act. But this model is wrong, or at least it's incomplete and unreliable. The real behavior model is environment, cue, automatic response, then action. Your environment presents a cue, a trigger, which activates an automatic response in your brain, which leads to action. Most of your behavior is automatic, not chosen. You don't decide to brush your teeth through willpower every morning. You walk into the bathroom, you see your toothbrush, and you automatically reach for it. Automatic response. Bad trading behavior is the same. You take a loss, you feel the urge to recover, you automatically look for another trade, you take a bad trade. Traditional discipline tries to break the chain at the willpower stage. Don't look for another trade, resist the urge, be strong. But this requires constant mental energy and eventually fails. Environmental design breaks the chain at the beginning. Change the environment so the cue never appears, or make the automatic response impossible. Yale couldn't revenge trade not because he resisted the urge, but because his platform closed automatically. The cue, loss, still happened. The urge, recover, still appeared, but the automatic response, look for trade, became impossible because the environment, closed platform, prevented it. This is why environmental design works. It doesn't fight human nature. It works with human nature. It accepts that you have urges, impulses, and emotions, but it designs the environment so those urges can't turn into bad behavior. Another reason environmental design works is consistency. Discipline varies day by day. Some days you have a lot of willpower, some days you have very little. Your results vary based on how disciplined you feel that day. But environmental design is consistent. The systems work the same way every day, regardless of how you feel. Your platform locks at the same time, whether you're feeling disciplined or not. Your checklist requires the same verifications, whether you're patient or impatient. This consistency compounds. When you follow your rules 60% of the time through discipline, you get unreliable results. When you follow your rules 94% of the time through environmental design, you get consistent results. And consistent results compound into significant long-term growth.
Yale's journey from discipline-focused struggler to environment-focused success offers you a clear roadmap, and implementing it is simpler than you might think. Here's exactly how to transform your trading through environmental design. Step 1. Identify your breaking points. Review your last 50 trades. Identify every time you broke your rules. Not just, I broke my rules sometimes. Be specific. Write down each instance. Then look for patterns. When do you break rules? After losses? During certain hours? On certain types of setups? When you're tired? When you're excited? These patterns reveal your breaking points. These are the behaviors you need to design your environment to prevent. Step 2. Stop trying to fix yourself. This is psychological but crucial. Stop thinking, I need to be more disciplined, and start thinking, I need to design my environment better. You're not broken, you're not weak, you're just human, and humans respond to their environment. Change your environment, change your behavior. Step 3. Design your time constraints. Based on your breaking points, identify when you should and shouldn't trade. Then remove your ability to trade outside your designated times. Use platform lockouts.
physical computer shutdowns, password-protected access that someone else controls. Whatever works for you. Make trading outside your hours difficult or impossible. Step 4. Pre-commit your position sizes. Decide now, while you're reading this and thinking clearly, what your position size should be. Write it down. Calculate it for your current account size. Then, create a system where you can't change that position size in the moment. Locked spreadsheets, automated calculators, accountability partners who have to approve changes. Remove the in-the-moment decision. Step 6. Build automatic breaks. Identify your highest risk moments for bad trades. After losses, after wins, after certain hours. Then force yourself to take breaks during those moments. Use automatic platform closures, physical timers, scheduled activities. Make the break happen automatically, not through deciding, I should take a break. Step 7. Create physical friction. For your most common rule violations, create physical barriers. If you skip confirmation checks, create a physical checklist. If you overtrade, create a token system. Take 3 physical tokens. Each represents 1 trade. When they're gone, you're done. Physical actions slow you down and make you conscious of what you're doing. They interrupt automatic bad behavior. Step 8. Test and refine. Implement these changes one at a time. Test each one for a week. See what works for your specific breaking points. Refine what doesn't work. Add new environmental designs as you identify new breaking points. Environmental design is iterative. You won't get it perfect immediately, but each improvement makes trading easier and results better.
The bottom line. Discipline alone won't save your trading because discipline is a limited resource that depletes with use. You can't maintain constant willpower forever. Eventually, discipline fails, and when it fails, your trading fails. Successful traders understand this. They don't rely on discipline. They rely on environmental design. They create systems that make good behavior automatic and bad behavior difficult or impossible. You don't need to become a more disciplined person. You need to design a better trading environment. An environment that works with your human nature instead of fighting against it. Yale spent 2 years trying to develop more discipline. His account barely grew, and he was exhausted. Then he spent 3 months designing his environment. His account grew 21%, and trading felt effortless. The difference wasn't in Yale. Yale didn't change as a person. The difference was in his environment. He stopped trying to change himself and started changing his surroundings. You can do the same. Identify your breaking points. Stop trying to resist them through willpower. Design your environment to prevent them. Create systems that make following your rules automatic. Discipline alone won't save your trading, but environmental design will.